I want you to imagine Jesus and his disciples sitting around the Passover table. You know, Passover is unlike any other night in the year. And tonight, Jesus, his disciples, and the rest of the Jewish world remember when God made them free. Jesus' last Passover and his Last Supper is found all throughout the Gospels, every Gospel actually, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, the Gospels only show us a specific moment during the Passover meal when Jesus took two of the Passover elements, the bread and the cup, and connected them to his broken body and his shed blood. The bread and the cup from the Passover will become the two elements Christians will use to remember Christ all throughout church history. But here's something interesting. The Gospel accounts don't show us everything. Jesus actually took 4 cups of wine that night, not just one. The Passover Seder then and now have had 4 cups of wine that are spread throughout the evening, and I always like to say that these 4 cups act like fence posts that guide you through the Seder. Each cup has a name, and each cup is connected to Exodus chapter 6, verse 6 and 7, which is called the I will passages, when God says to Moses, I will set my people free. Not you, Moses, I will. Now, the first cup is called the cup of sanctification, and it carries the idea for the Jewish people that God is literally removing them from the entire world of Egypt, the burdens of Egypt, and all that Egypt encompassed, and he's removing them from that empire of Egypt into a world of freedom. He's transferring them from one place to another, setting them apart and giving them a purpose, the cup of sanctification. Now, we don't take this cup during communion, but I think it has incredible significance to the life of a Christian. Because see, we've been removed. We've been removed from the kingdom of darkness and brought into the kingdom of light because of what Christ has done for us. And not only have we been removed from the kingdom of darkness, but we've also been given a purpose to serve him. And this is the cup of sanctification, to become more like Christ. So even though we don't take this cup, it has tons of meaning to us. The second cup is called the cup of praise, and it's connected to a section in Exodus chapter 6, verse 6, which says this, and I will deliver you from slavery. You know, I want you to imagine what it would have been like for the Israelites to live for 400 years in Egypt, and a majority of that time under the burden of Egypt and the bondage of slavery, to build a kingdom that wasn't even theirs to enjoy in the end. You know, the cup of praise is a reminder of the good news that was brought to the Jewish people when God said he's going to deliver them from the bondage of Egypt. And when you hear that good news, your only response is praise God. And again, even though we don't take this cup as Christians, I'm reminded of the fact that we've been set free. We have been delivered from the bondage of sin into new life. And so this cup is a great reminder for us to say, praise God, the cup of praise. The third cup is a cup that's familiar to Jewish people, and it's also familiar to the Christian community because this is the cup that we take during the Lord's Supper. The third cup, the cup of redemption. When God says this in Exodus chapter 6, verse 6, I will redeem you with outstretched arm and with great acts of judgment. God is going to redeem Israel. He's going to take them back. He's going to take back what is rightfully his. And the whole idea of redemption in the book of Exodus is the idea of God taking back what is rightfully his. You know, this is a cup that we take to remember the blood of Christ that was shed for us when he redeemed us, when he bought us back and took us back to claim what was rightfully his, the cup of redemption. Finally, the fourth cup, a most interesting cup because it's actually mentioned in the gospel account of the Last Supper, the cup of acceptance, which is connected to Exodus chapter 6, verse 7, which says this, I will take you to be my people, and I will be your God. The idea that God accepted his people and his people accepted him. So you know what's awesome? As a Christian, we can take this cup because by the blood of the Lamb, we are no longer strangers, but now we have been accepted by God because of what Christ has done. And we are no longer aliens, as it says in the Old Testament. We are now sons and daughters of the living God. The 4 cups of the Passover not only speak to the lives of the Jewish people who celebrate them, but also they define the Christian life. We've been set apart from the world to be a light of hope for God, the cup of sanctification. We've been set free from sin to serve the living God, the cup of praise. We've been bought back and redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, the cup of redemption. And we've been accepted by God through the saving work of His Son, the cup of acceptance. I'm Katulka.